welcome back to Homelessness Doesn't Have a Face. I just want to say thank you so much. I am loving the engagement in the comment section. I appreciate the feedback that I am receiving. Also those people that took it an extra mile and reached out to me on a very personal level. I want to say thank you so much for that. I do appreciate when you do that. And it's not something that I planned that it's going to happen. It just happened. So I just want you to know that I truly appreciate you doing that. I know that I opened up this channel to inspire, motivate, and give people hope. I didn't anticipate people actually opening up about their lives, and I'm grateful for that, because this channel now is a space whereby you yourself, you can confront your issues, or you can not issues, because issues is like sometimes it can have a negative, negative tone to it. But I'll probably say that you are exposing your situation that you may find yourself in. I'm just glad that there's a channel that does that. By the time that you finish watching, you come out with something. You are able to reflect. You are able to explore yourself. I love that. So while you at it, you are already here. You see me smile. You see me cry. So while you're still here, please do like the videos. Do subscribe. I do believe that it also gives other random people, when we like and when we subscribe and share, it gives other people the opportunity to watch and as well be inspired and be motivated. So don't keep it to yourself. Let other people see as well, and let's pay it forward. So without further ado, as I promised you last week, that today I'll be talking about my experience living in a third shelter, and as well my life trying to so the suicide bubble that I had in my life, which mostly I can say I had. So let's get right into it. I stayed at the third shelter. It was based in Kenilworth. That's in the southern suburbs here in Western Cape. I stayed there, and it accommodated women that had been physically abused by their partners, and that had a major impact on the children. I stayed there as an individual of being a woman, because at the time I was 23. I was 23, yes. So I lived there for I stayed there for 1 year and a half, yes. And it was a great shelter. With shelters, there are those that are always in need of funding, and then there are those that are bowling in funding. And I remember that one of the funders was Woolworths Food, and we strictly ate food from Woolworths. I'm not flexing, I'm not, but it was not so bad after all staying in a shelter. And I just think as well, it also goes with what kind of organization it is and how many funders are available for that specific shelter that is there. I lived there, and how I got to stay there was through my aunt. I was staying with my aunt in her house in the township Escalating, one of the townships here in Cape Town, and I stayed there with her and with the kids, which were my cousins and their cousins' kids as well. And when I stayed there, I don't believe that blood is thicker than water. I don't know for you, but for me, that's my reality. Blood is not thicker than water for me specifically. And I stayed there, and I felt like I was Cinderella in a way, because I didn't belong, and I could feel it that I didn't belong. And people would speak all the time, oh, my house is like this, or my house is like that. And I had more pressure because I knew that I don't belong. When someone else, my cousin, they're gonna feel like, oh, I don't want to clean, I don't want to do this. I can't do that. I can't say, no, I'm not in the mood to clean. Oh, I'm not feeling to clean. I'm just gonna sit here and chill the whole day. I didn't have that option. And then I had to sleep when everybody else has slept already, or done watching TV, because I was living in the lounge. I was sleeping in the lounge, and I was sleeping on the couch. I was sleeping on the couch there, and even that became a conversation of iyaphela couch yam. That's saying that, living, like sleeping on the couch, it's destroying the couch in a way. And I remember one time I took the chairs that were in the living room that are hard, and I put them there in the lounge, and I just slept on those 3 chairs. I put myself like if there is a bed, and I slept there because I'm avoiding the couch chat, And then she spoke, "Oh, you can't be doing this, you're doing funny things. What is this that you're doing?" And then I slept on the floor. There were no extra mattresses, so I would just put a bed. I would put a blanket and another blanket, and then I sleep and then have another blanket. So I was sleeping like that in the lounge, and once everybody is done, with everything that happened there, it was a reminder that I don't belong there. It was a reminder that I am not that child. I'm not their child. I am the sister's child. And I remember now my aunt had spoke to me about this shelter. I don't know, I think she read it in the newspaper or it was through radio, I don't know, but she was like, call this number, about it's about a shelter and maybe you can move in there. Then I took that as an opportunity that if it's gonna let me move out of here, then most definitely I am taking this offer. I called and I was referred to the social worker that was working on site. I spoke with her on the phone and she gave me the directions for me to go there the very next day. I did. By the end of that section, by the end of that session, she had already said that where you are, pack your bags and you can come. And I was happy. I left there crying because now I'm gonna have my own bed. I'm gonna have a room, and I was really happy. Those were tears of joy, and there were also tears of so much anguish that I have been through. I didn't expect that. Yes, I know what kind of life that I had and how I was treated differently from the other kids in the family, but I never thought that I would face such, in a system that was at least supposed to try and make things better for me. But anyway, I moved into there. I was happy, and that shelter, there is nothing that we lacked. That shelter is one of those shelters that are very fortunate with funders, and they had programs, they had skills, they had many things, even job opportunities, and they used to try and put us on those and trying to see ways whereby they can empower us and moving on to the next best chapter of your life. And it helped me a lot. I remember when I was staying there at that time, I had passed matric, and I passed my matric I passed my matric and I received an H. And obviously that is not going to get you anywhere, so I had to rewrite my matric. I took some few subjects that I rewrote and they came back with a D, so still I was not eligible for university. So I remember there was this payee internship that the Department of the Premier had rolled out for people that are taking a gap, 1 year gap of not having a job or not going to school, not pursuing their studies. So I decided that I'm gonna apply for this, and I did, and thankfully I got in. So I was placed at the Department of Social Development, and I did that 1 year there, and I was really happy because I had now a job. I felt so independent, and that now my life is at least moving in a direction that's coming of more about me than where I am coming from, because I had been so consumed with everything that has been happening and struggling to have a place to stay. And wherever I am at, there's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be something, feeling alone, feeling abandoned and neglected. And having stayed in that shelter, it was really great, because although I was not physically abused by a partner or anyone to be eligible to stay there, having the session with the social worker and me explaining my life to her and explaining the living conditions that I was staying in with my aunt at that time, she concluded with that I needed to move out, because she saw what it's doing to me and what it has done to me, and together of where I have lived and just my story in general. And that is why she said she will just have to when she has to give the report and saying the reasons why as to why I'm staying there and not being abused, but then she translated it in a different way I may not have had that abuse from a partner, but I had a different kind of abuse that I was enduring, and I needed to get out of that situation. And that is how I got out from my aunt and staying in the shelter. So once I started to work at the department, being that internship, 1 year internship, I worked, I saved a lot. And after I had saved, I had actually moved in with my friend, whom I'm going to call Zinzi. She also had wanted to move out of her parents' house and just have some sort of independence. So we decided to move in together. And that was the time whereby I had my freedom, whereby I could actually now, you know, decide where I'm gonna stay and decide where I'm gonna go without having all of these other things that are impacting my life. So that was a kind of freedom for me to stand on my own, and I was happy. And staying in that shelter truly empowered me in a great way, and I'll forever be grateful for staying there because it helped me in so many ways. And probably I won't go into depth about it on this specific video. But throughout, you do see a social worker every week or every second week, depending on your situation. And one of the things that we explored was that my life with suicide and the attempts of suicide. I started having suicidal thoughts when I was 14 years old because of family problems. I had that, like, the only problem that I had and that impacted my life was family. That's where my suicidal thoughts came, because I tried to understand my life and how I grew up and how things were different for me in the same setting as other people, but for me it's different. And I asked myself why, and I didn't come up with an answer because I didn't know, but I could feel the neglect, I could feel the abandonment, I could feel the resentment that I had to endure, to a point that, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last, whereby I was saying that I questioned myself, if do I really belong in this family system? Do I really belong with these people? Was I adopted or something? Because I just don't understand how I can live such a life whereby I have parents. These people are alive, they are kicking, and yet I feel like I am all alone here. I feel like I gave birth to myself. I feel like it's just me. And I am trying to I was doing well in school. I was doing well, but my marks came down because there was just too many things, and I had developed so many anger issues. I was always on the edge, and the first thing I wanted to do in a situation, I just wanted to kill myself. I just wanted to end everything that's happening. I wanted to end everything that I was enduring in my life. And I wanted to understand, how come do you have a child? How come do you have a relative that is a child, and yet you're watching what is happening and you don't care? How do you expect this child to fully function? How do you expect them to accept who they are when there's so many problems that are happening? No one is giving the care, no one is giving the time. For me, I'll add this. I remember when I was in grade 2, I was studying at Observatory at the time, and we were staying, it was when we were staying with my grandmother in Khayelitsha. I remember one of the days, my mother would forget fetching me from school, to a point that the secretary would leave and she would ask, why are you still here at this time? All the kids are gone. And I'm like, I'm waiting. And then would go back into the office and call, and then she would answer, oh, she forgot. She needs to come back by herself, And that's what I did. As short as I was, I had to travel from Observatory with the train, from Observatory to Cape Town, from Cape Town to Khayelitsha. And I would arrive, and when I get to Kailicha, I would know where I'm gonna look for her. I'm not gonna go home straight. There are places that she goes to, and trust me, without a fail, I would go to those places and she'll be there chilling, like nothing has happened, you know. And that those are one of the things that made me to be matured at a very young age, because I had to take care of myself from a very young age. I had to grow up. I didn't have a childhood. I didn't have a childhood because I was already faced with so many problems, and to a point whereby I told myself, I am tired of this. I am tired of this situation, and it has to end. It has to end. And I tried ways. If I would be angry, I remember the one time when I was at my aunt's house and my mother was also there, you know, a lot was happening, and you know, they were raising their voices, and I just stormed out of the house. I went to the main road, and I saw a bus coming, and I wanted to throw myself in front of that bus. I just wanted to do it and just end it all. And I remember they were running after me, you know, trying to, because there were people there at the bus stop, and they were shouting and stuff like that, because I was asking myself, what do I have to live for? I've got nothing to live for. All my life has always been problems after problems, problems after problems. I'm being sworn at, I'm being cursed. You know, people are telling me that they hate me. I am just 15 years old. I don't know much. You know, I endure so many things. I see my cousins being bought the latest phone, you know, or having clothes that are maybe from the shop, and I'm never questioning that. I just watch, I ask, and then I can't have, then I'll be quiet. So like there were so many things that were happening that I didn't understand. And I remember the one time I decided, okay, you know what, I got on the bus, because now when I was staying there, when I was studying in Cape Town, I used to have a bus ticket. So I got onto the bus, and I just went to a bus to Mowbray, and I got off at the Mowbray. Sorry, I got off at Mowbray terminus, and I just started to walk. I didn't want to be there. I don't want to be with these people. And I just stayed there the whole day. I had my bags. I told them, I'm leaving here. I don't want to be here anymore. You are better off without me. I took my bag. I just had one bag, but I had put, like, I had placed in that bag just a small things of my clothing, and I left. I'm like, I'm just gonna do you guys a favor. You're not gonna see me again. And I left. I took a bus, and I left. And I stayed around the park there. There's this other park that's there by the riverside in Mowbray, and I just sat there the whole day, and I was crying, and I was crying, and I was crying. And then I think it was getting late, and I was getting cold, and I decided, actually, let me go back. And I went back. No one said anything to me. Where were you? Because I was already giving them the face. Don't talk to me, you know. Then this went on. So now the times that I was staying with my mother at the Ronabush East, and I was seeing the social worker and Athlone, and being removed, and going to stay at the children's shelter, whereby now I had attempted the second time. And this second time, I'm not gonna reveal, because I don't want to be like I'm giving people ideas. So I tried the second time. That second time didn't work as well. Then the third time, it did work. I attempted the suicide, and the next day I woke up in hospital, and I was hospitalized. The last time I remember was when I was in my room, and I remember I had written a letter. I had written a suicide letter that the house mothers and social workers, that they had found underneath my pillow, that I had written down, because I just wanted to end everything. I wanted to end the persecution. I wanted to end, you know, feeling lonely. I wanted to end the neglect, the resentment, the hate. I wanted to end it all, because I felt like I don't deserve to be alive, and these people, actually, they would be better off without me. You know, this is what they want, this is what they're gonna get. I woke up the next day in hospital, and I remember sitting there and I was like, it almost happened. Because what had happened was, I woke up during the night, and one of the kids, because when we were sharing the room at the children's shelter, at the children's home, we were 5 in the room. We each had our own bed, and they mentioned to me that I started to have like an attack. It was like an epileptic attack that I kind of had, and my body was just, I don't know how to mention it, but my body, I was just that person who seemed to be, at that when my body was just acting out badly, to a point that they had to call the ambulance to come and fetch me. And that's the last thing that I remember. And then the next day I woke up in hospital, and I was just sitting there and thinking to myself, this actually almost happened. Why did it not happen? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, why am I still here? Why am I still breathing? Why am I still alive? I hated the fact that I didn't die. I hated the fact that I didn't die. I wanted to die badly. And I was like, oh, I'm here one more day again. It's going to be the same thing, same over again. And so, although I was at the children's home, they still had contact with my mother, and she was informed of that. And then about 2 days later, she came and she tried to speak with me and tried to, sympathize or empathize with me, and trying to be sweet and try to, trying to end. And I was like, why? All of a sudden, now you actually can listen. Now you can actually recognize me. And I'm surprised that actually this makes you feel like you almost lost me, because to me, it was like going to be, you are better off without me, and she was silent for some time. But ever since then, that attempt, I just decided to just even give up wanting to kill myself, because I was so close and that didn't happen. Then I was just sitting there like, I don't know about my life. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I tried to kill myself so many times, and this time actually it almost happened, but now it did not happen. I remember when I was hospitalized, and no one asked me. Amazingly, no one asked me why I did this. They knew why. No one asked, why did you do it? Because they knew, And I was just there questioning myself. Why? Why did I not die? What am I still here for? I remember I was like, okay, I tried this. It didn't work. What now? What now? And there was just this voice that just said, try again. I know life is not easy on you, but try again. And I didn't understand where this was coming from. I was thinking to myself, where is this? And that is where I will say that is where I can say God met me. And I'm not saying I met God. I'm going to say God met me, because you only meet with someone because of an intent. You make meetings so that there's an agenda, and the person who's making the meeting is the one who's calling the meeting. And I believe that God called a meeting for me. And next week, I'm going to be talking about how God made me, and how it was a challenge for me to accept that, because I had questioned the fact that all along I was going through all of this. Where was God? So that is what I'm going to explore next week with you. Once again, thank you so much for watching. This is my life, this is my story, this is my journey. I'll see you next week, same time on Friday. Bye.